always told me, if only if it were that simple. We have many cultural remedies such as eating certain foods, doing different exercises, and in my case, drinking milk in order to change something that is determined by genetics. We all have wondered at one point in our life, how are we the height that we are today, or how did the tallest guy get to be 8 feet and 3 inches tall? As you can see, drinking milk did not help me. I reached my peak at 4'11" my sophomore year of high school, and so this had always intrigued me. Genetics is the determining factor behind our physical traits and the advancement of biology. And today I'm going to explain how genetics affects us, what genetics disorders is, and what research is being done about genetics. Genetics is a discipline of biology, the science of genes, and heredity and the variation of living organisms. Genetics deals with the inheritance from parent to offspring and gene distribution. Within genes, there can be a dominant and recessive alleles. Alleles are a specific code that codes for a specific trait, and such as eye color. Black would be a dominant color, and blue would be a recessive color. And in this example, blood types is another certain type of trait that we inherit from our parents. So in this case, the father is double A allele and the mother is AO allele. Punnett squares gives us an example of how gene distribution works. And so this is a Punnett square. And in this example, we're talking about blood type. The father is double A and the mother is an AO allele. So from the father, the child would receive an A and the mother would receive another A. And here, O, A, AA, and AO. So as an estimate, Punnett squares gives one an example how the type of child would be. So in this case, the child would be either AA or AO. And since A is a dominant allele, both child and parent is blood type A. In 2000, the Human Genome Project is a multi-billion project to map the entire human genetic code and to discover cures for genetic disorders. Although the project did not reach what it was intended for to cure genetic disorders, one Harvard Medical School professor commented, "The project should be appreciated for the opportunities it provided for the study of human health. The understanding of our genes tells us about our bodies, how we are made, and how human beings progress. Is that all we get from our genes, our blood type, our height, and our eye color? Unfortunately, we also inherit genetic disorders within our genes. Genetic disorders or diseases are caused by abnormalities in our chromosomes, and most disorders are rare, heredity, and multifactorial inheritance disorders, meaning they're caused by environmental factors. Many of the investigations of genetic disorders are researched or associated with the National Genome Research Institute. Genomics is the study of an organism's whole heredity information that is present in our genes and the use of our genes. Therefore, our genetics disorders are grouped into 3 categories. First, single gene disorders, which is a mutation within a single gene, which is inherited through one chromosome within both parents or both parents. Some examples of this is sickle cell, Marfan syndrome, and hemophilia. The second one is disorders within the chromosomes because of structural purposes, such as because normally humans have 23 chromosomes, but an example of the second category is Down syndrome, because Down syndrome has an extra copy of chromosome 21. And the multifactorial inheritance disorders, which I had mentioned before, is the third category of the categories of genetic disorders. Most common examples are heart diseases and cancer. Today, researchers are learning more about genetics contribution to behavioral disorders such as alcoholism and obesity. But do not be disheartened. Today, there are studies being shown how to prolong life through genetic disorder, to prolong those with just genetic disorders. For now, bone marrow transplant is the only known treatment for a variety of genetic diseases caused by deficiency of a certain substance in the body, such as protein, which is a buildup of toxic chemicals in the body. Bone marrow transplant is a procedure of replacing bone marrow with better bone marrow, and bone marrow is the fatty white tissues within your bones. However, bone marrow transplant is not easily done. It requires one to have a perfect match, which is caused by a specific set of genes, like the example, organ transplants. However, one concept of cure that scientists are looking into today is gene therapy. It arose in the 1960s and early 1970s. Gene therapy is an experiment technique that is to use genes to treat and to prevent diseases. Researchers are testing several approaches to gene therapy, including replacing the gene with a better gene, knocking out the gene that is infected, and thirdly, injecting a new gene so that it can help fight the bad gene. In the future to come, hopefully this technique will help better the advancement of medical procedures without the use of drugs and surgery. In conclusion, genetics is the determining factor behind our physical traits and the advancement of biology. Genes not only shape us, but has shaped the medical world around us. As we have learned, genetics is why we are how we are, how sometimes genes can cause a problem, and how we should look forward to future advancements. Although I am not the height that my mom wanted me to be, I did inherit my mom's black thick hair.